Hi everybody. The purpose of this video is to help you with your Weather Lab Part 1 and Part 2, 6.06 and 6.07, and I'm wearing my hat anticipating precipitation. Maybe not happening here, but happening soon. Alright, your goals for this lesson are to read and interpret symbols from a surface area map that are provided in the lab. You're going to actually construct surface maps that are showing temperature, pressure, dew point, and wind direction, and interpret those maps as well. And you're actually going to also identify regions of specific temperature, pressure, and moisture, and then compare them with other weather maps. Now, in your lesson resources, there's two very important things. Your student guide, which goes over a pre-lab describing the step-by-step about the lab and also some general information about air fronts, and then also the weather map activity itself with a lab simulator. This information here, the weather lab map interpretation, this is your actual laboratory report page that you're going to be writing all your information in, and it looks like this. This is what that paper looks like. Now, the lab itself, there's some background information that you're going to need to review when you first go into the lab, and that information is as follows. Some things to remember are the symbols for high and low pressure, for fronts, warm fronts, for cold fronts, for occluded fronts, for the isobars for pressure, for the isotherms for temperature, and then also for the presence of different types of precipitation based on the presence of a low front. The next information you're going to need to review is what the data, the weather station data symbols stand for. And a summary of here is the cloud cover. It's going to go from no clouds to scattered, partly cloudy, mostly cloudy, overcast, or it's going to say the sky is completely obscured. And again, these symbols are indicating how cloudy the sky is. Then there's the wind information. What is the direction of my wind? What is the speed of my wind? And then also, you'll have a chart when you toggle over each city's information on the map of the United States. It's going to show you the temperature in Fahrenheit, the dew point in Fahrenheit, the wind direction, and the wind speed in knots, and then lastly the barometric pressure, followed by the cloud cover. So this little chart you can refer to anytime if you forget. Again, just a brief review. We know that weather systems are organized streams of air that are moving across the country. These large air masses do not change as they're moving. They remain the same unless they come in contact with another type of a front. This is a satellite image showing a very low pressure system that's in Texas moving northeast. This is a very typical pattern that happens from the colder systems that we receive from Canada. Remember, the Doppler radar systems can reveal much about a storm, amount of precipitation, the type of cloud cover, etc., the amount of rain that's occurring, wind speed, if there's lightning strikes happening, their intensity and frequency. Again, meteorologists take vast amounts of data and have computer models that help them to consider what the weather conditions are going to be for their predictions for the upcoming week. And again, the student guide gives you a link to the lab and then also the actual activity paper that you're going to be using. A few pre-lab things to consider before you begin is please remember that when we're looking at the lab, you're looking at the toggle switch. You're going to be able to toggle between 3 days ago, 2 days ago, yesterday, and then you're going to be making a general trend about what's going to be happening that current day using your simulator. Again, there's two major air currents that move across North America. The trade winds, remember, blow west to east, and the Atlantic currents blow east to west. However, when they bend a little bit when they reach the east coast of North America going north. Now, the air rises and condenses when it encounters a low pressure system, and this condensation, part of the hydrological cycle, forms clouds, and the simulator is going to let you know the cloud formation that's happening and how much near the low pressure systems. When you're rolling your mouse over the stations, you want to view the details in the station names. Again, temperature is on the top left, dew point is on the bottom left, and then you have your cloud cover, the wind direction, and the wind speed, and then the pressure, your barometric pressure. 4 more important things to remember. Of course, temperature is the same going east to west, but it decreases as you move north. Winds are always moving from high to low pressure centers, and the closer and the high and the low pressure centers are, the faster the wind. And a station, of course, temperature is influenced by the direction the wind is blowing and the speed of that particular wind. So those are all things to consider when you're making your predictions. Now let's look at your simulator. It gives you some more points to consider. For instance, it's talking about when you, I'm going to show you how to do these things. When you turn the simulator button on, you can actually drag the high and the low pressure symbol around to see how it's going to affect the barometric pressure, temperature, and wind speed, etc. When you turn on the temperature button, you're going to know that the temperature stations change. Of course, that's dependent upon the types of winds that are present. And again, a reminder, in the real world, the air masses maintain their properties as they're traveling from place to place. And you're just going to have fun using the pressure simulator, I hope. And what I'd like to do is I've filled in some information for Denver for you and from Salt Lake City. And let's look at that data for 3 days ago. Again, you're tracking the pressure system. So remember, go to your weather map activity. And this is telling you, again, some general information on how to click the button and across the bottom of the screen to view the weather for each day. You can explore each data when you toggle on the station rollover button and click the simulator to help you figure out tomorrow's weather, which you're going to be mapping. So this is showing 3 days ago. Now currently the only thing I'm showing is the presence of my high and low system. See if I can increase this a little bit. There you go. So you can see the high and the low system. Now let's show our cloud cover. So this is showing our cloud cover. The data that I received was I toggled over the button for the city. This is 3 days ago. Again, temperature in the left hand upper corner, dew pressure in the left hand lower, barometric pressure in the right, and then the center is showing wind direction. And again, this is just 1/4 partly cloudy. Again, clicking on the wind speed is going to show you, add some more information. It's going to show the direction of the wind, the presence of my low and my high front, my cold front and my warm front, my ISO line showing my barometric pressure readings, and precipitation, if any. And then lastly, now I can layer in some more information, which is showing me my isotherms and my temperatures. So I can see right now, at least across the Salt Lake area, right here I have temperatures in the teens. This is 3 days ago. Again, there's my toggle, there's my information for Salt Lake, there's my information for Denver, and I wrote and copied that information down on my sheet, and that's what you're going to do as well. Type the information in. You saw that there was no precipitation over Denver, but there was indeed over Salt Lake. Now 2 days ago, when you're at your simulator, again on the bottom is where you show the days. So there's 3 days, 2 days, yesterday, here's today, here's your simulator, where you're going to determine in which direction your high and low front are moving. And again, when I want to show all of the information so I can make a more appropriate prediction, I can show the presence of my cloud cover, the movement of my wind, my presence or absence of fronts, pressure, precip, and temperature. Let's fill one in together quickly. So it's asking me on 2 days to look at Chicago and Denver as I'm tracking the pressure front. So Denver has a temperature of 31, dew of 26, 992, and completely no clouds. So again, 31, 26, 992. So 0% cloud cover. You could just type in clear skies also. And if you can't recall what it is, just click back into it. 3126, 992, 3126, 992, and no precip. And I accidentally put that in Chicago. Let's just hurry and cut and paste this. $31, $26, $992, and no precip. And we're almost there. Now Chicago, definitely have some storm action happening, don't we? Chicago, I have 75% cloud cover. I have 36 degrees, 34 dew point, 988, no precip. Here's my low front right here. You can see that my precipitation is in the Iowa and Missouri and Arkansas area. So again, my Illinois is 36, 34, 988, no precip. I have 75% cloud cover, 36, 34, 988, precip, none. Then you're going to go and do yesterday's for Chicago and Knoxville. And then the last portion of the lab is you're going to forecast today's report for the following cities. You're going to go back to your simulator and determine what the weather is like for Buffalo, New York, Des Moines, Iowa, and Knoxville, Tennessee. And you're going to make a prediction based on the simulator information from today. And again, you can layer in all your information and find the information for those cities for today. What it's asking you to do here is for today's weather, it's up to you to decide where the fronts are located and to predict precipitation based on the station data. First, you're going to draw your fronts and precipitation on the map, then write your forecast and explain how the data supported your forecast. So when you go back to your simulator and you look at today, you're going to make a prediction of what's happening in Columbus, Ohio. Look, you have 75% precipitation. What's happening where your low and your high fronts are? And these are the towns that you need to make a prediction for. Again, Des Moines, Knoxville, and Buffalo. Orlando and Philadelphia. And then lastly, if you're going to consider that you're actually tracking the storm and you're going to use a simulator to help predict what the weather will be like tomorrow, the simulator will be most helpful for temperature and pressure, but you will still need to consider the previous pattern of the storm to get a sense of the precipitation. So you're going to take your simulator and you're going to, and here's where you're going to actually draw your prediction of where the low and the high front went and what type of weather is occurring based on the 3 days previously. And you're going to make your prediction here. You're going to write out your prediction here and then do your weather map symbols here on the map. Again, to do this portion of the lab, you can go from 3 days ago and track this low pressure and high pressure and then make a decision of where things are going to change and what would happen to your weather based on those changes. What would happen to your pressure? What would happen to your temperature? I hope you really enjoy this lab. It's very informational, very, very interesting, and gives you a taste of what it's like to be a meteorologist. Thank you for your time, and I can't wait to read your